Hello, welcome to Walk to Cinema podcast. Today we're going to be doing our Oscar predictions, going through every category and just saying who we think is going to win and who our favorite is. And if you have an opinion on who's going to win Best Picture or any other category, drop us a comment on the YouTube video. And we're going to go through it in reverse order. So starting with whatever people think is the least important categories, which is not a thing, but we got to go in some order, and then we're going to finish with Best Picture.
Yeah, so I think we're going to first start out with the Best Live Action Short. So we have An Irish Goodbye, Ivaloo, Les Poupées, Knight Ride, and The Red Suitcase.
I think this one is fairly obvious, even though the shorts are hard to predict. Les Poupées is directed by Alice Rohrwacher, which she's directed a couple pretty good movies. She's Italian, and Alfonso Cuarón produced it. So I think there's just a lot of big names involved in it. Mm-hmm. That usually tends to lead to victory.
Yeah, that's the only one that we watched in this category also, because it was one of the most easily accessible.
Yeah, this is a category we've seen the least of them, just literally one, and it's the one that's probably going to win.
Yeah, I kind of assume that it is also going to win, just with the names that it has associated with it.
And it was good.
Yeah, and it was cute, I think
it wasn't amazing. I didn't think so, but it was cute and
it's serviceable.
I would say. And it had good distribution. It's on Disney Plus in the United States, so that's a big plus.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's not that much that we can say about it, so we'll move on to the next one, which we have as the Best Documentary Short Subject. And so the ones in this category include The Elephant Whisperers, Haul Out, How Do You Measure a Year, The Martha Mitchell Effect, and Stranger at the Gate.
So we've seen some of them.
Yeah, we've seen 3 out of the 5. We were going to watch The Martha Mitchell Effect, and we might still, after this comes out. We still have a week before the Oscars are, broadcasted, so we might. But based on the kind of knowledge that we had, I thought The Elephant Whisperers was really cute. Definitely the cutest subject,
Yeah.
It's about, this family that kind of takes care of elephants that would otherwise kind of die in the wild. Even though they are living in the wild, they just kind of, take care of them and they stay close.
That's my favorite. I hope it wins. I think it might be the favorite for the people taking odds on it, but I don't think it's going to win.
I don't think so either.
I think I'm going to go with How Do You Measure a Year? I think that's more baity and it's going to work out and it's going to get the win.
I think that I'm going to go with Stranger at the Gate as my favorite to win.
That'll be a rough one.
I just kind of feel like that's what people would kind of take, and the general premise be like, yeah, that sends a good message. For people that haven't actually watched it.
I feel like it's such an awkward one, though. And I don't know.
I'm not saying that I liked it all that much. I thought it was okay, but it also feels kind of weird when it kind of blames its victims, or not really. It's not necessarily that it blames its victims, just that it puts it back on them to have changed the guy's mind. You know?
It's a weird one. I hope it doesn't win. I feel like it's just a risky one to win. How Do You Measure a Year is also someone that a lot of people hate the documentary maker behind it. So I don't know. I'm just going to go with it because I feel like it's the catchier one for voters. But it's hard to predict shorts. It really is.
That's fair. It is hard because I don't feel like a lot of people watch them all that much. And they are hard to find a lot of the times. Mm-hmm. Okay, the next one we have is Best Animated Short. So the movies in this category were The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, My Year of Dicks, An Ostrich Told Me the World is Fake and I Think I Believe It, The Flying Sailor, and Ice Merchants. Again, we saw
some of them.
3 out of 5 of these too.
The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse was definitely the most popular one online. A lot of people saw it.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really liked Ice Merchants in particular, and I hope it wins. And up until like a couple days ago, I had it as the one I was going to pick to win.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like My Year of Dicks is going to win just because of the reaction it got during the nominations.
Mm.
I think a lot of people just think the title is funny. As like, a teenage boy type joke.
Yeah, but it's not about that though, you know?
I mean,
like if you read
is.
like but not really. It's like kind of, but it's not about like a teenage boy. It's about a girl trying to...
No, I'm saying the title is like a teenage boy joke. But I don't know, the reaction at the nominations and then the people on like Reddit threads and Twitter were like laughing at the name.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the name's gonna stick with some people that vote. But maybe not. Maybe they're so distant from this type of thing, the online world, and it's going to be something else.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think I'm going to go with Ice Merchants because I also really liked it. I thought it was a very well done short and it was cute.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Like I said, I haven't really been like looking at the odds, at least for that one. So I could be very wrong. I really didn't like The Flying Sailor. It was okay.
No, it was fine. I feel like it felt more like a YouTube video than like
a short.
a production,
Yeah.
But I liked it fine. I just don't think it's going to win.
Yeah, and I also liked An Ostrich Told Me The World Is Fake, and I think I believe it.
That's cute.
I like that one a lot, and I think that it was really well done. I just don't think it has a chance in like winning. So
we're going to jump to Best International Film. All Quiet on the Western Front, Argentina 1985, Close, EO, and The Quiet Girl. I think this is fairly obvious, just historically.
Yeah, I would be very shocked if it was anything but All Quiet on the Western Front.
Historically, you get nominated for Best Picture as a foreign film, you're going to win foreign film.
Yeah.
Even though Argentina 1985 has won some awards over All Quiet on the Western Front, All Quiet on the Western Front has also won Best Picture in some awards. So, I mean, I think it's fairly straightforward.
Yeah, I think so too. There's not much to say about like anything else, I think, about this category,
Yeah. Best Documentary Feature.
We have All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, All That Breathes, A House Made of Splinters, Fire of Love, and Novellini, I think is how you say it.
Novellini?
Novellini? I don't know it. I haven't seen
That's
that
on
one.
HBO. We just haven't gotten to it.
Yeah. We only watched Fire of Love from this.
And it was amazing. A visual treat.
Yeah, and it was cute. It's kind of like their love story, even though, it's a tragic love story at that too. I don't know. It was really cute and sweet. And it made me also want to be a volcano expert in a way that like I wouldn't actually ever do that, but it's nice.
Yeah, and it was kind of a big deal in the documentary world. I saw a lot of articles about it.
Yeah.
And people say it's the best looking movie period of the year, if not a decade. But I think All the Beauty and the Bloodshed is going to win.
I also agree with you on that.
I saw a lot of hype for it. I hadn't heard of it before the nominations. But once the nominations came out, I feel like there's a lot of hype for it. A lot of award talk for it. And it just seems like it's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't, I mean, that's fine too. The documentary feature lately has been kind of a toss-up anyways. Where what people think is the best sometimes doesn't even get nominated.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a mess.
And we're not like big documentary watchers, I'd say. We do watch a fair number, but like not a crazy amount, But next we have the Best Animated Feature, which includes Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, Turning Red, and The Sea Beast.
If the internet was giving out this award, it was going to Puss in Boots.
100%.
But Puss in Boots, I feel like, barely made it into the nominations.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I don't think a lot of people expected it because it did come out so late in the year and it wasn't like crazy.
Yeah, no one expected it to be good.
Yeah, because it's a sequel that came out,
to a movie that was
multiple years after the first movie. you know?
A movie that people thought was mediocre
Mm-hmm.
as a general.
But I heard it's really good, and I do kind of want to watch it.
Yeah, but we haven't watched it.
No. We watched Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, which I enjoyed. You said it was a little, like...
It's gimmicky.
Gimmicky, yeah.
And, like, I don't know. It's only good because it's cute. If it wasn't cute, it wouldn't be good. That's just my opinion.
And then we saw Turning Red when that came out
I
on
didn't like that.
Disney. I thought it was fine.
I thought it was mediocre.
It was fine. I saw The Sea Beast. You did not.
No.
The Sea Beast was, to me, shocking that this got a nomination, but I guess, you know.
The 5th spot for animation feature ends up always being a crappy little Netflix movie.
Yeah.
Because
it's not good.
It's hard to have like 5 big animation movies in a year.
Yeah.
That aren't all sequels.
But to say all that, I do think that Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio is going to win.
Yeah,
I mean, how
it's the
would
Academy.
It not?
They're going to vote for Guillermo del Toro.
But there is a small part of me that does wish that Puss in Boots will win over it.
I honestly don't care who wins because I'm not in love with any of these. So Guillermo del Toro is probably going to win. His name is in the title. It's Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Like, it's in the title. It's made for it winning an animated feature award. And it was, like, actually pretty high for Best Picture itself. It was at least in the top 20. So it shows that the name carries a lot of weight. And it's also probably not a bad movie. I didn't watch it, so I can't really say anything about how good it is. But just, you know, you don't need to even watch any movie to predict these awards.
Yeah, it's true.
It helps, though.
So next we have Best Visual Effects. And we have All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar, The Way of Water, The Batman, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Top Gun Maverick.
At first, I was very convinced Avatar was going to win. And I still am. It's my choice. But I could see Top Gun also winning because just of how many people like it.
Yeah, I think I went back and forth the same with Avatar versus Top Gun. But I think I'm going to give it to Top Gun. Because like you said, really? I think it's popular. I think people, you know, like it a lot more.
But the thing about Avatar is that the whole gimmick is the visual effects.
That's what I know. And I don't know, like, how voters are going to vote, you know? Where I could totally see, like, voters kind of putting Avatar or Top Gun, but then the next one not being, like, in their rankings, not being Avatar, you know? Like, I feel like the people that don't like Avatar really don't like Avatar.
I don't even love the visual effects in it. I complained about it in our full episode on it. But I still think it's gonna win just because it's the gimmick of it. But we'll see who's right. And then on to a category that I did pick Top Gun, Best Sound. Which has Top Gun, Maverick, All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar, The Batman, and Elvis.
Yeah. I also picked Top Gun for this one. I think surprisingly Top Gun is going to win several awards.
Technical awards for sure, yeah.
Yeah. During this season. Though, to be fair, I think All Quiet is a really strong contender in this. I just don't really see people picking that out as the best sound, you know?
Well, to be fair, Top Gun had a really good sound. Especially the sound design I liked. But the sound mixing was good too. It engrossed you into the airplane stories. So I don't have a problem with Top Gun winning that.
Yeah, I agree. It makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. It's a technical achievement type movie in it. It makes sense it's gonna win a lot of them. Even if it topples Avatar along the way. Yeah.
Then we have Best Song. We have RRR, Natu Natu, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Lift Me Up, Top Gun Maverick, Hold My Hand, Everything Everywhere All at Once, This Is a Life, and Tell It Like a Woman, Applause. My thoughts are, I know that there is a big hype for the Natu Natu one, because people were also kind of like upset that RRR didn't get any other nominations, which, I mean, I feel like regardless of if it's one of the greatest movies of all time, It just doesn't seem like the Academy would care as a whole.
Well, India didn't even submit this
exactly.
as their feature film for Best International Film. So it was already fighting against the odds.
Yeah.
And it is that people love it. The reason that it got some nominations, including Song, which I still think it's going to win. Just because I don't think there's a push for any of the other songs in particular. So I feel like a lot of people that did like RRR could vote for it.
Yeah.
But then we got to wait. How many Academy people did actually watch RRR?
Yeah. So that's why I went with Top Gun Maverick's choice of Hold My Hand. I think it's just really gimmicky. Not that I like it. I really don't like the song, but I feel like it's Lady Gaga. It's from one of the movies that grossed one of the most amounts of money this year. So to me, it just kind of makes sense. So that's why I chose it.
It's a big act. Some people might read the name Lady Gaga and put a check mark on it. Mm-hmm. They love having her performing at the Oscars. She's done good performances at the Oscars.
Yeah.
She's well liked in the music industry and now the acting industry. So
yeah, I think she's a safe choice. So that's why I kind of went with her.
Yeah, it could be that one. Definitely. But I think RRR could also be it if there's a big group of voters that did watch it and think it should get some wins.
Mm-hmm. But now we have Best Score. And so in this category, we have All Quiet on the Western Front, Babylon, The Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and The Fabelmans. I'll let you give your thoughts first.
I'll tell you which one I want to win. It's All Quiet on the Western Front. And I think it has a good chance. But if I'm putting my money on it, I'm going with The Fabelmans.
Interesting.
I don't know why it would win, but I feel like it would. Like, if there's a category it would win and people wouldn't complain, it would be this one.
I mean, to be fair, like, with that one, it is John Williams, and I do think he's a safe choice, right? I think I am still going to go with All Quiet on the Western Front, because when I was thinking about these movies and thinking about their score in particular, All Quiet is the only one that, like, really left, like, an actual impression on me, where I, like, think of those, like, really heavy, like, sounds
I feel
in
like
the
All Quiet on
church
the
scenes.
Western Front is the movie that got the most transformed by its score.
Yeah.
It's the movie that depended more on its score than any of the other ones.
And I'm kind of hoping that that will, like, translate into votes.
I don't think it will.
It might not, but I just kind of feel like, I don't know. I know that John Williams is, you know, a safe bet for a lot of people to vote for, but
again, recognition has a lot to do with awards that people don't fully understand.
Yeah.
Like, the reason we don't have sound mixing and sound design as different categories anymore is because the Academy realized that people don't know the difference. And these are people that vote for awards.
Yeah, that are supposedly watching a lot of
And
movies.
we're getting the same winner for both awards, where we're getting the wrong winner, where, like, the one that should win sound design is winning sound mixing and vice versa. So I feel like there's a lot of just people not caring, people not understanding, people not watching the movies.
Yeah.
So recognition comes a long way. And recognizing a name or recognizing the hype does come a long way. It's like it's an objective award for best of the category, right? So it's interesting to look at the differences of what we think is good and what wins.
Best production design is our next category. So this has Babylon, Elvis, Avatar, All Quiet on the Western Front, and The Fabelmans. My thoughts on this one are, I think that Elvis, All Quiet, and Avatar have a really good chance of winning this. Like, I really don't know where the Academy is going to go.
It's a hard one. I feel like this is a very split one.
Yeah.
In particular, out of all the categories, production design. But I think Avatar stood out to me with the little villages that they built and the underwater worlds.
That's fair.
And I think the spectacle of it might
push
it across the line.
I went with All Quiet on the Western Front again. I think that
it's very good.
Yeah, I think the way that they portrayed trench life was really well done, and it does give like a feeling, like an air of bleakness. So
it does, and it works completely for the movie, and I wouldn't change anything about it. But I just don't feel like it looks new enough. Like,
That's fair.
Because other movies have also done World War One recently, and they kind of, look similar because it's the same war. You're not going to make stuff up. It's trench war.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. That's just kind of what my spidey senses were telling me. But next we have best makeup and hairstyling. So this includes Elvis, The Whale, The Batman, All Quiet on the Western Front, and Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I think we were both in agreement in saying that Elvis is going to win, and I feel like there's really no chance that any of the others have.
I think The Whale has a chance, but
I mean, I guess, but I feel like The Whale is so divisive.
But people
I don't know.
People seem to be convinced that Austin Butler is Elvis.
Yeah.
So the makeup and hairstyle has a lot to do with that.
My thoughts on that is I think that whoever is in charge of promoting Elvis during this award season is the one that's creating this facade that like he is Elvis, that he looks like Elvis, that he sounds like Elvis, because like in all reality he really doesn't like evoke Elvis that much, like I think he does a fine job, but I feel like it's not like, oh, I'd mistake him for Elvis walking down the street.
Well, I still think it's gonna win because people seem to think he's a look-alike doppelganger, but I don't know. The Whale has a chance. But you're right. I do think that like
I'd be very shocked if
I feel like there's not really a fight.
Yeah.
But for film editing, this is an interesting one every year people complain about, and I think they're going to complain again this year. But we have Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Top Gun Maverick, Tar, and The Banshees of Inisherin. I went with Top Gun Maverick.
I also went with Top Gun Maverick.
I was watching it, and I was like, this editing is so obvious.
Yeah.
Not that it's bad, right? It's just obviously
edited,
done. Like, you could tell that it's edited very, like, by the book. And, like, technically well. So I think it's going to win. But if anything, Everything Everywhere All at Once has the most editing. Because there's so much cut. Mm-hmm. There's so many cuts. There's so many, like, montages and all that.
Yeah.
And it's also the one that affects the storytelling the most.
Yeah.
So I think it should win in a perfect world.
Yeah, I agree.
But Top Gun Maverick kind of follows the line of all the movies that have been winning lately.
Yeah, that's kind of why I chose it too. We don't like look at each other's predictions before we do this because we kind of like, seeing how we each thought. So I think it's kind of funny that we both kind of went with Top Gun, even though I feel like that is the obvious choice for this category. I do still think that like you have Elvis, right? Which is also very obvious with its editing.
It could also win.
It could also win, but I still think Top Gun because I don't know. I feel like there'd be more people willing to give Top Gun this spot than the other ones. But like you said, I really did like Everything Everywhere All at Once's editing, and I think that, like you said, it kind of drives the story a little bit too, or like it has consequence on the story, whereas like a lot of these don't really have a consequence with the editing. Like it's the same story whether it's edited one way or the other.
So let's talk about costume design, which I guess we should have talked after makeup and hair, but the list here didn't agree. So we have
Babylon, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris.
So I think Mrs. Harris... No, I'm kidding. I don't even know what that movie is. This is the first time I'm seeing it.
I remember people being like, oh wow, that got a nod. Like, that's nice. I'm sure it might have had something to do with like the person in charge of costume design. I really don't know.
It could be good. I have no idea what it is. I think Elvis is going to win. It's just going to go along the lines of...
Yeah. Same.
He is Elvis. He dresses like him. His makeup and hair looks like him. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people kind of take costuming and makeup and hair as like the same category. And maybe one day in the future, it might be like a combination, like just best overall, character design, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just kind of my thought. Because, I mean, if they got rid of like the 2 sound categories and just made it best sound overall, I feel like it's not unreasonable for them to combine those 2 categories, especially when they're trying to cut down on
time and awards.
Yeah, the length and the awards. So
I've seen a lot of people say how good Everything Everywhere's costume design is, but I don't even particularly agree.
Mm.
I think there's a lot of good things about the movie, but the costume design is kind of mediocre, in my opinion. If anyone could upset Elvis, I would say it's Babylon.
Yeah.
Because of
I
the
could see
era.
I could see that, for sure.
And superhero movies get nominated for this category quite often, but they never seem to win it, so I don't even think that's a debate.
Yeah, potentially not. I know that it got a lot of, not a lot of nominations, but several. But spoiler alert, I really don't think it's going to win anything. You know?
I do, but we'll get to it later.
All right.
Cinematography. All Quiet on the Western Front, Elvis, Empire of Light, Tar, and Bardo.
I'll let you go first because I'm still kind of mulling on it a little bit.
I really like Tar's cinematography, but I think All Quiet on the Western Front is like the most obviously good.
Mm.
And the most obviously good usually gets a lot of nominations from different type of voters.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's gonna win.
I could see that. I could also kind of see Empire of Light winning just because it's Roger Deakins, and
That's
I think
the reason it got nominated to begin with.
I think that's the reason why it got nominated, but it might just be like they wanted him to get the nomination. But what I did go with is Tar. I went with Tar winning this category. I think it has a chance. I think it has a chance because I think people really like it, and I think that it does a really good job at, you know, portraying what it wants to portray.
I really like Tar. I feel like the cinematography was a big part of it and creating that world, but I don't know if it's going to be impactful enough, especially with the colors.
Yeah.
They seem to like, you know, brighter movies, which All Quiet is not, but it has the wide, bright shots of the sky.
Yeah.
And it just has a lot going for it.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's not like it's bad at all. But let's get to the bigger categories here.
Mm-hmm.
Original screenplay. That's a big one. Everyone wants that one. The Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Tar, The Fabelmans, and Triangle of Sadness.
I think, well, we just recently talked about Triangle of Sadness this past week. And how I think it just kind of left something to be desired. So I feel like that one has the least likelihood of winning in this category. I personally went with The Fabelmans solely because I think there's enough hype around the storytelling aspect of it and it being partially written by Steven Spielberg. I just feel like it has a really good chance of grabbing that spot.
I don't even know what my favorite would be between Tar and The Banshees of Inisherin. But I don't even think any of those are going to win. I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is going to win. And I think it could win. It could go and do the big four and get screenplay, director, actor, and picture.
I mean, it definitely could. I don't have like...
Not that I'm picking it to win those, but I feel like it's the only movie that could do the big four.
That's fair. I
did
like that one.
It starts with this win. It starts with the screenplay win.
To be fair, I did like all of these movies except for The Fabelmans. I really didn't like that one all that much, but everything else was, you know, pretty solid, pretty like formidable.
Yeah, but I think Triangle of Sadness had the worst screenplay, even if I liked it more than The Fabelmans.
Yeah, it was a little bit like loose, but sometimes I can kind of forgive weak screenplays if they're not like boring, you know?
So let's go to adapted screenplay.
We have All Quiet on the Western Front, Glass Onion, Living, Top Gun Maverick, and Women Talking. This one's hard for me because I really think it's kind of like a back and forth that I go with between All Quiet on the Western Front and Women Talking because they're both based on books. All Quiet being something that I feel like every teenager in America reads at some point. And then Women Talking having a very powerful real life event that happened that did get translated pretty well to the screen.
And I think there's a story behind it where the person that wrote it was already like a famous triathlete or something. And Frances McDormand brought the book to the director's house and told, you're going to make this movie.
Yeah.
You got to make it. Like, it's you that has to make it. And I don't know, there's a powerful story behind it, but I think All Quiet on the Western Front is going to benefit from people knowing this story, from this winning, like, decades ago, obviously, but...
Yeah, I completely agree. That's what I also picked, was All Quiet, for those same reasons, where it is, like, something that's already been done, something that's people are familiar with, they can kind of compare and contrast, you know, the book to the movie, and it's done well. I did like this adaptation of it, and I feel like with women talking, I think it did it well. It did the story well. I just don't know if I liked it more or less as a screenplay, you know? But I wouldn't be mad if it won.
It's also a movie that's, like, solely the screenplay, pretty much. Like, the screenplay is the major factor of it. It's not the acting, I suppose, as well, but it's not the visual achievements or the spectacle of it. It's a movie that's just talking. It's women talking.
Yeah.
So I think that could push it over. But All Quiet just has decades of recognition that I think could be hard to trumble.
Yeah, I completely agree. Our next one is Best Supporting Actor. So we're finally into the actor categories. So I will be butchering these names if I'm the one saying them. So I apologize to them. So we have Ke Huy Quan for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Brendan Gleeson for The Banshees of Inisherin, Barry Keogh for The Banshees of Inisherin, Jude Hirsch for The Fabelmans, and Brian Tyree Henry for Causeway.
I really, really want Judd Hirsch to win for the chaos that would bring to our household.
Right.
You would have a reaction, and I think that'd be funny.
I think it would be funny too, but like also, because it's so crazy, because after we had filmed or recorded our episodes on The Fabelmans and Triangle of Sadness, I realized that like we had talked about how little, or like, you know, how much of a role that Woody Harrelson plays in Triangle of Sadness, and how he had more screen time than Judd Hirsch did in The Fabelmans. And there was no way that Woody Harrelson would have ever, like, have been even in consideration for a supporting actor role, you know? So I just think it's funny that he's literally in there for barely any time. And I still am of the impression that this must have been some type of politics behind doors.
No, it's definitely that. But I feel like a regular person would watch The Fabelmans, right? And then they would watch the awards, and they would be confused at what character did Judd Hirsch play? I have no idea. I don't remember him. And then you go back and look, and it's like, oh, it's the uncle that shows up and has 2 lines.
Yeah.
It's just a confusing nomination. But who do we think is going to win?
I'll let you go first.
Ke Huy Quan, I think, is going to win. I think that's not even a debate.
I'd be very surprised if he didn't win, which is why I also chose him. But with like some of the other nomination or like other awards that we've seen, like award shows that have gone on, I think that Barry Keogh, or however you say his name, from The Banshees of Inisherin has a good chance too.
I'll be fine with it, whatever. It doesn't. I don't care too much in this category. I feel like it's the weakest acting category. But I think, Everything Everywhere All at Once got all the acting nominations, 4 of them, so I feel like it might just easily win a lot of them, including this one.
I think it'd be nice if he won, so I kind of hope he does. Our next one is Best Supporting Actress, so we have Angela Bassett from Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Carrie Condon for The Banshees of Inisherin, Jamie Lee Curtis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Stephanie Hsu from Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Hong Chau, The Whale.
Hong Chau in The Whale is kind of surprising to me. I didn't think she was that good.
I also didn't think she was that good. I thought she was kind of the worst actor in that movie.
The least good?
Not that she was bad, right?
The least good, yeah.
But it was the least good. It was like the least amount of like empathy towards her character, where I really did not like her character, and so I feel like that kind of already put her at a damper. So I don't know.
For this category, I feel like there's a lot of assumption that Angela Bassett is going to be the first Marvel actress to win an award of this magnitude.
Maybe. I did not put her, though.
I think I almost went with Carrie Condon. But at the end of the day, if I'm trying to be objective and trying to, get as many of these right as I can, I'm going to go with Angela Bassett. The hype is there.
I think I'm still going to put Stephanie Hsu winning this. I think she still has some hype. I don't know. I've also been notoriously bad at these predictions because I think that I tend to pick movies or winners that A, I've seen, and B, who I liked best. So that's kind of where I went with this one, where I think that she did a really good job in Everything Everywhere, and she kind of does have to carry that movie a lot,
I think we're just going to have what we had 2 years ago or 3 years ago where the favorites were just going to win and there's going to be no surprises whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I think this might be a year of no surprises, and it's going to be the undisputed favorite that's going to win every category.
Interesting. We'll see.
So
I don't know. I think these have been all over the place this award season.
They have, but people are still considered favorites or least favorites, and I think I'm gonna stick with most of that for every category, anyways. So let's talk about Best Actor: Austin Butler, Elvis; Brendan Fraser in The Whale; Colin Farrell in The Banshees of Inisherin; Bill Nighy in Living; and Paul Mescal in Aftersun. The favorite is obviously Austin Butler. The internet's favorite is obviously Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
My favorite is Colin Farrell.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that. I also picked Colin Farrell for no apparent reason other than I just got the vibe for him. Because I don't think Austin Butler is I don't think that they're going to award him for this one role. You know what I mean? Because they didn't do that with Adam Sandler. They didn't give him even a nomination for a couple years ago for Uncut
That's
Gems.
different.
And I don't think that they're going to give Brendan Fraser this either because of the whole he was kind of blacklisted from Hollywood, and I feel like that still kind of runs deep. So even though the internet and the general populace wants more of him and would love to see him get this award, I just don't think that they do
He's
it.
won a lot of them, though. And Colin
That's true.
Farrell just hasn't won as much as him or Austin Butler. Brendan Fraser was really good. So was Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
So I would love to see either of them win. But I do think Austin Butler is going to win. I just think he's playing a famous person. Which, come on, that's what's been winning.
That's true.
For a lot, even, the actress as well as the actor. I'm again, being realistic and sticking with the favorites because they seem to lately just been sweeping at the Oscars, not every award. But Austin Butler, as annoying as he gets day by day, I think he won the award and then he'll shut up and we won't have to hear about him for a while.
Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. I still went with Colin Farrell. But the more you said, the more I was kind of maybe not. We'll see. But then we have Best Actress. So Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Cate Blanchett for Tar. Michelle Williams, The Fabelmans. Andrea Riseborough to To Leslie. And Ana Darmus from Blonde.
So I think Ana Darmus is not going to win. Honestly, the only huge upset I could see is Andrea Riseborough having so much support because she was kind of attacked for getting nominated.
Yeah.
Which I don't think she should. I think we should attack Michelle Williams and Ana Darmus, but okay, whatever. I think she could get the support, but I don't think it'll be enough to win, and Michelle, was still going to win. Again, I'm sticking with the favorite for every acting category. And this was the only one I had a hard time not going with Cate Blanchett. I think she makes more sense.
Yeah.
I think she was better, but that's personal.
Yeah. At the risk of doing worse on my little, Oscar score, I did pick Cate Blanchett because I do kind of foresee this one being the upset. Because I feel like everyone wants Michelle Yeoh to win. At least the general populace, you know. I don't speak for the Academy, but I'm saying for like, you know, from people that I've seen and heard from, like that's who they want to win. But I'm kind of the impression that if any of this was going to be an upset, it would be Cate Blanchett winning for Tar.
Yeah, Tar was great. She was great. I think she deserves it, but I don't think she's going to win. Unfortunately. Well, it's not unfortunate because I'm fine with Michelle Yeoh winning. I mean, it'd be a good moment. I think there'd be a lot of celebration in the crowd. Jamie Lee Curtis is going to lose her mind.
Yeah.
So
Jamie Lee Curtis is just like the ultimate hype woman.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's fun. Whatever. I'm not going to be upset because my favorite didn't win. But Best Director, The Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Steven Spielberg, The Fabelmans, Martin McDonough,
I think,
for The Banshees of Inisherin, Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness. Todd Field would actually be a sweet little win for me, but I don't think it will happen. I could see Spielberg winning because he's got nominated a lot, but he hasn't won that many. I think this will be his third.
Potentially. I don't see him winning either.
I think the Daniels are going to run with it.
This was also another one where I was back and forth between the Daniels and Todd Field, to be honest, but I did go with the Daniels. So I don't think that this will be like an upset from like what's being said as the favorite.
Right.
But I feel like there would be enough people that would vote for Todd Field over the Daniels just because of how Tar was in its like
and it was a big
atmosphere.
project for Todd Field, like not in scale, but how long it took him to like realize this vision.
Mm-hmm.
So that sometimes the stories matter a lot, and sometimes, you know, the voters are sold on the stories that the public doesn't really get.
Mm-hmm.
And that could happen. But from a public perspective, what we know and what we can see, I think the Daniels are going to win. And then go on to do another movie that's also going to be great.
Yeah.
So it's Todd Field, so it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, award shows are sometimes silly, so who's to say? But finally we have the Best Picture, and I don't think we need to go over all of them since, you know, we have ad nauseum, I feel.
We've covered every single one of these individuals. So if you've made this far in the episode, go pick your favorite movie or two and go listen to those episodes.
Yeah, we don't try to hold back. We sometimes try to be nice for the ones that we didn't particularly like, but we still give our opinion pretty freely.
Okay, I'll give you my opinion on what I've seen about Top Gun Maverick winning Best Picture.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of people comparing it to Titanic, which was a huge financial success that people loved, like the crowds loved. And Top Gun Maverick is that. And if it wins, it will open the door for the Academy to be accessible to the general public again, like it used to be. Where when Titanic won, they had record viewership, and now they're at their all-time lowest. So Top Gun Maverick winning could be a turnaround in that viewership. But I think most of the members, as individuals, don't care.
Yeah.
I think they care about art more than they care about viewership.
Well, and that's what you said, like, even though it might be a bad look for the Academy, it's not like they can control thousands of people.
It's 10,000 people voting. You're not gonna... I mean, we saw that when they put Best Actor for last. Mm-hmm. And then the actor that won was not there.
Yeah. So because everyone kind of assumed that Chadwick Boseman was going to win.
Right.
Best
I assumed
actor.
Chadwick Boseman was going to win. I'll be happy with it. And I think everyone would. And that's why they put it at the end.
And then it was not him. It was Anthony Hopkins that went to bed.
Yeah. Anthony Hopkins was in Ireland asleep. And I think that proves that as much as the Academy wants certain things to win,
they don't have the actual control. And but it was kind of interesting that it's like, okay, they're not actually like rigging this stuff because that was such a poor
That was the worst
planned
ending.
moment.
It was
Yeah.
the worst ending you could possibly have.
And just the stories of like how his widow was in the crowd, like ready to accept for him and stuff.
That was
like,
tragic.
Oh my god.
But that proves that you can't control that many voters. And if you're not gonna rig it, if you're not gonna rig it for that, you're not gonna rig it for Top Gun. And I think Everything Ever All at Once is also a crowd pleaser that's gonna win. But it's more deservingly gonna win. It's a different movie. I think it's gonna be the movie that stands out the most out of all Best Picture winners, including Parasite. Because Parasite is still, like, in comparison to this, it's still, like, pretty, like, typically done film. Even though it's, like, new to a lot of people, like, the way he did a lot of things. I think a lot more things in Everything Everywhere are newer to the Academy.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because they don't usually do this type of pop movie
that's
in
true.
the forefront.
Yeah. I really struggled with what I thought was going to win Best Picture because I really feel like there isn't a clear winner in terms of like how the voting pool is going to pick their movie. And because we know that like for Best Picture, one movie has to get 50% of the votes.
51?
Or 51%.
So yeah, you go through rounds of eliminating movies and then giving the second vote that person gave to that movie to this.
Yeah.
It's a whole mess.
Yeah. And so trying to think through that, I did finally end up settling on Everything Everywhere All at Once. As I have said previously, it was my favorite movie out of all of these ones. It probably was my favorite movie of 2022. And I'd be happy if it won, but I kind of have like this little nagging feeling that it's not going to. And I really don't know if I think that All Quiet is going to overtake it. I don't know if The Banshees of Inisherin is going to overtake it. Those were kind of the two that I felt were the most likely to get more like secondary, tertiary votes before it gets like
I agree
to the
I think
like
those
50%.
are the two that if you don't put it at number one, they're definitely going to still be in the top 5.
Yeah.
For most people. So it could win that way and not have the most number one votes.
Yeah.
As much as I like Tar and The Banshees of Inisherin more than Everything Everywhere All at Once, I feel like that would be a more important win. Because I feel like even if The Banshees of Inisherin win Best Picture, it's still going to be kind of a forgotten movie.
Yeah.
It's not like there was a lot of hype. It's not like it's a super poppy movie. Even though I feel like it's easy enough to watch, I don't think a lot of people are going to bother to figure that out. So Everything Everywhere All at Once would be a more
accessible.
Yeah, it would be a bigger victory for movies in general. I think more people would go out and watch that movie if it won than they would any other movie, except maybe Top Gun. I feel like if Top Gun won, I do think a lot of people would go watch it.
Yeah. I really don't see it like being very high up on people's lists.
I don't know. Yeah, I think I'd be surprised.
Could be. I could be talking a lot of crap about it, but and at least it's better than the first one, so kudos to it. But that's kind of my opinion. I did settle with Everything Everywhere, but I'm not like super convinced, and I kind of feel more strongly that All Quiet could win because I do think that it would get a lot of secondary votes. Like people might not put it, if you're not putting it at number 1, you're probably going to put it at like number 2.
I could also see a lot of people putting it towards the bottom though.
That's fair.
So I don't know. It's a hard one, but I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is going to win the big 4. I think it's going to win director, actress, screenplay, and Best Picture.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to be even that hard for it. I feel like it's not even a uphill battle. I think it could easily win all 4.
That's fair.
Best Picture is always the hardest. So we'll see.
Yeah, and it's really hard. But I will say that the one thing that I feel like All Quiet on the Western Front has going for it, like against it, is the fact that it's a Netflix production, and it kind of seems like the Academy really just will do anything in their power to not let Netflix have a win.
If All Quiet on the Western Front gets the screenplay win over Women Talking, it still has a pretty good chance, even though it didn't get director, and it would be the first Best Picture in a while to not get any acting nominations. and just Everything Everywhere All at Once has the classic nominations that you would get for Best Picture. It has the chance of winning the big categories that Best Picture usually wins.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It just seems to make the most sense to me, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think we gave a lot of our opinions, so hopefully maybe some of you agree with them, maybe some of you disagree with them, but that's kind of the fun of doing this. I, once again, think that I did very poorly with my predictions, but we will see, and we will have an episode out on our thoughts and feelings about how the Oscars went next week after the Oscars air. So be sure to look out for that, because we'll probably have lots of thoughts and opinions. But don't forget to like, subscribe, leave us a comment, rate us if you can, and we will see you next time.